Unfortunate news from Poland. Demo pilot Slab of the Polish F-16 Tiger demo team tragically lost his life on Thursday when his F-16 crashed during practice. We're going to take a look at the video, one of the angles, and discuss what investigators might be looking at. Just warning, it's a very sad occasion, and it's pretty tough to watch, but we'll try to explain some stuff from the F-16. But nickel on the grass for Slab, and leaves behind a wife and kids. So very tragic day for aviation and the people of the demo team, the military, and Poland in general, and just the world. I mean, it just sucks that we lost another Viper driver, but I'll try to break it down as respectfully as we possibly can. Okay, this video I pulled from YouTube. EPRA Skyline shows the full demo. There's a bunch of angles here, but decided to use this one for that just because of the angles. But I'll leave a link in the description. They also have a link to donate for the family. So if you'd like to donate, please use that link in his description or his comment section. But here we go. Polish Viper with the conformal fuel tanks. Oh, geez. So some of the things they're going to look at, until seeing this time, first thing people are asking is G-lock, G-induced loss of consciousness, or A-lock, almost loss of consciousness. When I first saw this, I said I didn't think it was G-lock just because of this right here. So the F-16 flight control system works off of a limiter. So up to 15 degrees of AOA, 15 units of AOA, angle of attack, you get up to 9 Gs. That's what the airplane will give you. It's based on speed and that angle of attack. Once the angle of attack increases above 15, it becomes an AOA limiter up to 25 degrees AOA to 1 G. So it starts reducing it to keep you flying. You can't stall it up to 25.5 units of AOA. The reason I initially thought it was not a G-lock incident is because of this. There's an angle of attack on this jet, which means he's pulling back on the stick. Most demo teams, if they had the ground collision avoidance system, disable it for the demo. Otherwise, the demo wouldn't work. The Thunderbirds disabled theirs. They don't have it installed, or at least not operational during the demos themselves, as we watch their Netflix documentary. So the fact that it impacted basically like this and not bullseyed into the ground tells me that more than likely he is awake and controlling the aircraft. This looks very similar to the Pakistan F-16 mishap that we covered several years ago. They had one last year in Poland that we covered on the Mover and Donkey Show. And we're going to cover this more on the Mover and Donkey Show live on Monday. Mace is going to join us. I think Mace personally knew this pilot. So, I mean, it's very tragic. But so I don't think G-lock, although I'm not going to rule it out. And the reason I'm not going to rule it out, even though you can see that AOA, it could be a partial, is because he spends a lot of time, and it's hard to tell with the angle, but it almost looks like he's pushing forward, which is a negative G, which is what killed Cajun with the Thunderbirds, the push-pull. When you go from negative G to positive G, the possibility and the likelihood of G-induced loss of consciousness increases dramatically. It's a very dangerous thing. And it looks like he's kind of pushing here for at least a little bit, especially if you watch it in real time. But also, if you look at a different angle, really, that's just the backside of the loop. This angle doesn't quite show it as well. Of the entire demo. So here he looks like he's setting up for the loop. Max G pull, min radius. That's why he's an afterburner. Looks like he kind of floats it over the top. But the fact that it impacts tail first, I think he's in control of the aircraft at the time. There are other angles too, but that's just kind of what it looks like to me. I'll take a look at that as well. I mean, that's something they're going to look at, the over the top, whether he had the parameters as far as the minimum altitude to start the backside of the loop. Now, in afterburner the whole time, people have talked about that. If you want to do minimum radius, like a minimum radius loop, you can do an afterburner loop, but you're doing it at like 300 to 350 knots. And because if you get too fast, you start arcing. Your turn circle becomes larger, right? So for something like that, if you start too fast, you can have a real big loop and end up not where you wanted to be. Same thing if you start too slow. Same thing. You can actually, you have to have the parameters exactly right. And this is an experienced fighter pilot. I don't, obviously any of us can make mistakes. So, human error is possible, but I don't know necessarily that he didn't know that. Now we've seen the Thunderbird mountain home crash where altimeter setting affected that. And he got out right at the last minute. We saw the Pakistani F-16 that I talk about. We've seen this before. The Blue Angel crash, same thing, where they just where they started the top and they just didn't have enough altitude on the bottom. This looks like if he had another, 100, 200, maybe 300 feet, it would have been a very close pass, but it would have been survivable because he would have made it. But it's hard to even speculate on that. They also, you still have to look at any failures with the aircraft, flight control system, anything like that. I would have thought had there been some kind of malfunction, he would have come out of afterburner, but just initial glance, it looks like he may not have realized it until he was already too late on the backside. It could have been, like I said, A-lock, where he was partially, loss of vision, stuff like that. So he didn't realize where he was because it kind of floats it over the backside versus the top. So he didn't float high enough to get the altitude. He was floating on the backside of the loop, which wasn't giving him enough altitude to make that split S portion work. And at the end, it looks like he's on the limiter. That looks like a limiter pull to me. So I don't know. I don't know if this is the first time that some people have talked about, they usually didn't do this maneuver with afterburner. If any parameters had changed as far as altitudes, altimeters, all that stuff, it's something that the investigators will look at. It's very tragic, tough to watch, but yeah, I think it's going to be tough for the Polish military, as they go through this, because anytime you lose a pilot's tough, but losing a demo pilot, that's, now it gets worldwide interest, and people are upset, and rightfully so, because it's tough to lose somebody. But my thoughts are with the family, and very tough to hear about this news. So nickel on the grass for Slab. But let me know in the comments what you think. Join us Monday. We'll talk about this more with Mace.